welcome back to the Kansas Flamingo Chef, and today we are going to do some barbecue. Not just any barbecue, pulled pork and pulled chicken. It's really simple, but man is it good. Got a group of friends that I'm hanging out with tomorrow night. Got to get this stuff done. To smoke these pork shoulders takes about 10 to 12 hours. The chickens, on the other hand, about 3 hours. I've got my pellet grill running here at about 240 degrees. I want to keep it between 225 and 240. If it gets much over that, I'm going to turn the heat down. Let's get started. I've got 2 full pork shoulders. These are bone in. We're going to cook them until that bone just kind of turns around in there. That takes 10 to 12 hours. I've also got 2 chickens. Each one of these is right about 5 pounds. Just a pretty standard size hen. And they are actually going to get some seasoning put on them. The seasoning I'm going to use today is a Jack Daniel's chicken rub. You can use any chicken rub you like. This happens to be my favorite. Okay, hopefully you can see the smoke coming out of the smoker. I mean, it's getting smoky around here. The shoulders are ready to go on. All I did was take the plastic off of them, let some of the blood drain off, and I'm going to set them straight onto the smoke. Open it up, plenty of smoke. We're going to put the fat side up. And I'm going to put them toward the outsides to the back. There's not quite as much direct heat. Now the reason I'm going fat side up is because as this cooks, that fat's actually going to cook down into the meat, and that's where most of the flavor is going to come from. Go ahead and close that up. And I'm going to put the chickens on now because that way I can get them done and pulled apart before the pork is even close. Okay, to prepare the chickens, all I'm doing is taking them out of the wrap as well, letting all the liquid drain off, and then sprinkle them belly side up. Cover them in that rub, and we'll put them onto the smoker belly side down to start. So you can see it's pretty well rubbed out. We're going to put it right there, and then I'm going to put some rub onto the back side of the chicken as well. Put the other one right here. We'll let those go for about 3 hours. At about the hour and a half point or so, we'll turn them over, but we'll just let the pork keep doing its thing. All right, so we've been cooking for right at an hour, and I just want to give you a shot of what it looks like at this point. It might be about time to turn the chickens over, so we'll look at that. The temperature right now is 235. All right, so we're going to open her up here. And you can see there's some smoke coloring on the pork. The chicken looks pretty good where it's at right now. We'll let the liquid off if there's any. Sorry for the bad camera work. I was moving stuff with one hand and working the camera with the other. We'll go ahead and shut that down and let it keep cooking. All right, we're not quite 3 hours in. We're at about 2.5. The chicken's going to be close to getting done. I want to take a quick look. The temperature is sitting right at 225, which is perfect, and it smells fantastic out here. Let's take a look. Oh yeah, the chicken looks nice. Pork's getting some real good color. That is exactly where I want it to be. I'm going to let this chicken cook for about another hour because I want it to be cooked all the way through and falling apart. And at that time, I'm going to go ahead and turn the pork over. Hey guys, we're just about 3 hours and 15 minutes, so it's probably time to take the chicken off of here. But there's a perfect way to check to make sure the chicken is actually ready. I'm going to show you. So what we're going to do is go ahead and open up. And we're going to turn one of these chickens right side up. You can see that leg's already separated, so that's a pretty good indicator. But I'm going to separate the other one just to show you what I would normally do. I'm going to open this other leg. All you're going to do is just kind of cut right along the fat and push that open. The part that takes the longest to cook is this leg, so if you push down in there, you can see if it's done or not, and in this case it is. So Then you can also check the breast the same way. I'll get the shadow away for you. Just cut right along that spine. Open that up, and you can see that breast meat is done. So the chickens are ready to come off. And we're going to rotate the pork 90 degrees. Okay, so with our chickens off the grill, we are eventually going to pull all this meat off the bone so we have pulled chicken. But at the moment it's so hot that you just can't do it. But one thing you can do to help this cool down a little faster, because you don't want it cold, you still want it warm when you start pulling it, is cut along these lines where you would cut out the meat. And right along the breastplate as well. And then across here. By doing that, you're creating a little more surface area, and that lets some air in there a little faster, which will help cool this off. It also makes it so you can pull this a lot sooner. Okay, so it's time to pull the chicken. Now, one thing I'm a big believer in, there's a couple of things you need, and one of those is a decent pair of thick latex gloves, because this stuff is hot. It's also a good idea to have a plate to throw your bones onto, because we want to keep the meat in this pan with the juices. Also, not a terrible idea to have some water close by, because if your hands start getting really hot, you can stick them into that running water, cold water, and it'll feel good. Alright, so I like to start with by just pulling skin away and throwing it off to the side. Now, I'm going to set some of the skin completely off to the side because I have a dog and he really likes the skin. So you just kind of work the meat off the bone. There's no real science to it, it's just pulling the chicken away. Okay? And I'm doing it onto this plate so you can see what's going to happen. But ideally, I want to put all the meat in here, my waist over here. So we will continue to do this, and I'll show you more in high speed. Okay, so we've got the two chickens pulled out. At this point, you just want to kind of sift through the meat. Make sure you don't find any bones hidden anywhere, like that one, because I promise you, it wouldn't be a very pleasant experience to bite down into. Before you throw all this stuff away, consider if you're going to be using chicken stock in the near future. If you are, or if you're going to use it ever, put this in a pot with some water and let it boil for a little while. Strain it. You can even freeze it. And that's the best chicken stock you're ever going to have. Okay, I'm going to bag up the chicken. But like I mentioned a little bit ago, I've got a double boiler sitting here. And I'm going to put all of those chicken bones in here and boil them while I'm bagging my chicken. This makes fantastic chicken stock. Why let this stuff go to waste? You're going to throw it in the garbage anyway. There's no reason to throw it right now. Give this about 30 minutes to cook down and make awesome stuff. In the meantime, we're going to put all this in a plastic bag or two, and then we got nothing to do until the pork is done later tonight. Just so you can see what I'm doing, I put all of those chicken bones and skin that I didn't feed the dog into a double boiler, so it's in a separate basket, and we'll move that just so you can see it's already getting color down in there. But I'm just going to let this sit here and simmer. And at the moment I got it on high, I'm going to bring it up to a boil. Then I'm just going to let it simmer for about 30 or 40 minutes while I do the things, and I'll have chicken stock that beats anything you can buy at the store. Time for an update at the 5-hour point. And I want to show you what it looks like. We're at 2:35. And man, oh man, look at that. Doesn't that look good? See that fat cap breaking? Let's just stick that thermometer down in there. Now before these can come off and the pulled apart, they need to reach about 205, and if you can see that, right now, we're right about 140. Okay, so we are at the 10.5 hour mark, and you can see it's nighttime out here, and I am ready to take these off the smoker. I just checked the temperature, they're ready. Now I'm going to spin around, and you can see I've got just a cooler here, and I'm going to put those pork shoulders into this cooler as I take them off the smoker. The reason for this is as they sit in there, they're actually going to cook in their own heat, and they'll sit in there for a few hours before I even consider tearing them apart. Let me show you what they look like. So let's spin the camera around. You can see the heat holding at 235. Quite a bit of smoke. There they are, and those things are just gorgeous. Okay, so at this point you're just going to lift them off the smoker, stick them in the cooler, and let them be, and let them cook in their own heat for a few more hours, and we'll pull them out. Okay, so the pork has been sitting in this container overnight because I had to get some sleep. So it's been in there for about 6 hours. It's still hot. It's not as hot as it was, but it's still hot. So when we open this up, we're just going to take them out, and I'm just going to tear them apart just like we did the chicken. But now it's at the point where I'm not going to scald my hands. If you see this, you can see there's a lot of steam still coming out of here. There's the pork with all that fat down in the bottom. And we're just going to take these and start pulling them apart. Once you pull all that meat apart, that's it. Pulled pork. And then, time to eat. I'll show you the end result. So as I promised, I'm going to show you what the finished product looks like. And I've just torn it all apart and thrown the fat away. And here is the end result. That is 11 hours of smoking pork, and then letting it sit for about 6, and then tearing it apart. And that's a lot of goodness right there. Thank you for joining me as always. If you have something you'd like me to cook, let me know, and I'll do my best. Remember to like, share, and subscribe, and bon appetit.